Welcome back to Comic Book Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw. With me today are Miller and Matthew Aguilar. What's up?
Hello. Good morning.
What's up, everybody?
Been a weird week in the geek space. Been a weird week in every space this week, from sports to politics to geekdom. Stranger than life. Stranger than real life is the theme of the week, and we certainly experienced that. So this week we had a very interesting new marketing ploy. Marvel made a comeback in the marketing space by doing nothing but starting a camera for a live stream and leaving us all gawking at it for upwards of 5 hours. That is right. We got the Avengers Doomsday cast reveal, or cast reveal part 1 at least. And it looks like, we're going to have a pretty stacked bench of characters. But let's just talk about this for a minute. So we got 27 names. Those names started with Chris Hemsworth, and we went through Vanessa Kirby, Anthony Mackie. So Chris Hemsworth's Thor, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, Anthony Mackie's Captain America, Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier, Letitia Wright's Black Panther, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, Wyatt Russell's U.S. Agent, Tanook Huerta Mejia's Namor, Eben Moss Baccarat's Ben Grimm, Simeo Liu's Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. Now we get into some exciting stuff. Kelsey Grammer is coming back as Beast. I know Matt loves that as a big Beast proponent. Matt is all about that. It was another interesting thing from this was just the general thunderboltsness of it all. We learned that pretty much this whole cast is coming back. Sorry, Taskmaster, R.I.P. But yeah, Lewis Pullman's Sentry, David Harbour's Red Guardian, even Hannah John Common's Ghost are all going to be part of Doomsday. So it looks like we learn the Thunderbolts is pretty much going to lead directly into Avengers Doomsday. Other things we got, just like, I'm not going to go through all these because you can look them up. We have them. But the Fantastic Four cast are all going to be there. Tom Hiddleston's Loki was a big, I think, surprise for a lot of people. And then, of course, the X-Men names. Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romaine, James Marsden, and of course Channing Tatum getting his big finally getting his big chance to play Remy LeBeau Gambit in with the other X-Men and not just as a joke. So let's talk about this. What did you guys think of this cast? What do you guys think does this change your perception of Doomsday at all, and how? And of course, what a lot of us deep geeks are wondering, was this concept art we saw not legit? Is it from Secret Wars? Is this just the first tip of the iceberg we're getting? Marvel's already been teasing we could see more. What do you guys think?
Matt, you have to start this off. No, you have to start this off with your all of your comic books. I mean, you have some things to say.
Okay, so I'm conflicted, man. Number one, I despised this reveal. Okay, this is a waste of 5 hours. I'm sorry. Make this. It came up in our chats.
I was trying to get y'all to talk some junk with me, and nobody would say anything in our message.
I was like, I'm sorry. This is like, sum this up in a press release, dude, or just play the minute and 23 thing that plays that's on social media now. Like, and for Robert Downey to come out, the dude we all knew who's going to be in the cast. I don't know. I just like, I get it. I get the drama. And look, I understand. I'm not trying to yuck anyone else's yum. I get moments, right? These are moments made to like cultivate conversation, and people were live streaming. I get it. Okay. I understand. And I'm not even saying it wasn't effective. I was just like, good God, that's a waste of time. I'm sorry. I'm very like,
it's for the people who
we got
have
a lot of stuff
going
on.
Yeah. Like people without kids.
Well, I think we got to separate this because, I mean, there's like how you guys feel about it. And then there's like, what was the marketing effect.
Oh no, that's why I said it was smart from a it did what it was supposed to do, which was by the way, everyone hated it at first. That was the conversation trending. Everyone didn't like, oh, it's just chairs. And then, an hour and a half in, there were no real like big surprise names yet. And then when those names started hitting, it was like, okay, cool. I understand why it's done. It doesn't make it any better for me. Understanding the why doesn't make it a successful thing.
Well,
for me.
I think what I'm saying is more along the line of F your feelings. Like, yeah, everybody thinks they have feelings about this, and everybody goes to the internet and shares them, but nobody cares. You watched it. You were there. You were engaged.
You did watch it, right?
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah, I didn't. By the way, I kept
but
up
you're
with
talking about it. None
site.
of you are beating this. Like everybody's talking so smart. Oh my god, this week is.
But
just
I
driving
did
me
watch.
crazy.
I did watch for
Y'all
a little
are
while
in.
just
you
for
didn't
the
beat
comments.
It. They got you. They won.
loved the comments.
Let's be clear what happened here. The internet's going to internet. Who cares anymore? Twitter's a joke. Everybody on social media is a joke. This is all a joke. None of it matters. If you still think social media matters, I got magic beans to sell your ass, okay? It'll grow you a big ass beanstalk. Twitter is if you can't tell from this week that Twitter is now a manipulated algorithm nightmare, then I don't know what to tell you, because reality was nowhere near Twitter this week. If you go on Twitter, there is one reality of what's important, and then you just log off Twitter. None of this matters. So people complaining into the void, cool. Thank you for the engagement. Yeah. But Marvel for almost zero production cost, the lowest, a camera, a dolly, in a set of director's chairs they already have, got the entire world engaged in this for 5
all in the game straight
hours.
And the comment section was so fun. That was my point.
That's nearly impossible to do in this modern world.
Cracking up.
To cut and think about what was happening this week. How many things were happening to cut through all of that with zero production costs, just whatever you paid Downey to walk out, which probably does cost you like $20 million at this point. But it worked the hell out of it. And I think people underestimate the fun of what it did. It brought us all together again. Like, we were all talking about Marvel with each other again. Like, when's the last time that's happened? The whole problem with this whole multiverse saga is it feels disconnected, disjointed, and doesn't feel like a collective. You can't find, half of us have watched some of the stuff, half of us haven't. Like, half of us watched the Disney Plus stuff, half of us haven't. And so, like, this was the first time we were all doing it. And while it did annoy me because I got sucked into this for like most of comic book for like most of Wednesday, and I'm like trying to force myself to keep doing my job on the side, but 10 minutes to 15 minutes was perfectly researched to know that like that was the amount of time it took for each name to circulate, to generate buzz, to generate all kinds of trendings for that person, for us to theorize. And then go, well, who's coming next? Who's coming next? Who's coming next? People were dropping bets. It was going crazy. Like, it was nuts. And so it was fun. Now, I'm going to say that I do agree with Matt in the sense that I think most Marvel marketing things, and I've been here for all of them. I've been here. I was in Comic-Con in 2010 when the Avengers took the stage. Like, I've seen all of this. Most of them are 3-card Monty tricks. Like, pretty much. Most of them are. Just think about what they did at Comic-Con. Like, at Comic-Con, that was a 3-card money trick. What did we get told? We got told that we're changing this thing after Jonathan Majors, and we're just going back to the guys you saw before. We're bringing them all back. There's literally nothing new here. And we're making Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom. What the F? What? Like, but headlines all over the world. Exactly. And so it's like, it is always a 3-card money trick. And of course, and you realize that once you go back to the live stream, after the live stream, and you see, like Matt said, the minute 23 thing that actually comes out of it, you're like, you got me. But I mean, it was just fun to be engaged. Like, the whole comic book staff was in, talking, dropping theories, and even just ragging on it was fun. Being like, oh, wow, we're getting Danny Ramirez like as Falcon. Ooh, like, you know, and just seeing people or just people like saying, I can't wait to see the dance for this, or just like everything, like even the ragging on it was fun. So, I mean, this was like, and I feel like it's the Russo brothers who did this, because I said this made me remember when we were all sitting like complete assholes in 2018, was it? staring at the picture of a soundstage just like this, like it was some magic eye, trying to figure out, because they told us that the title of the next Avengers film was in there.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I remember it. Oh
The
god,
Russos are
yeah.
like
And
the
then we got all those
ultimate-
crazy like crossword puzzle theories that
and
half
it was
of them
like,
were
no,
terrible.
it was Endgame. We all knew it. We saw it in 5 seconds. But we had to go on this whole mental gymnastics journey before we was like, no, it was Endgame. Yeah, and so the Russos, I think, are great at this kind of like trolling marketing, which they, they should be able to do for the amount of theories and secrets and attempted spoilers they got to deal with. They should have a little fun with it. So, but this was well done.
I started negative, but I gotta say, I think you actually turned me around on this a little bit. I started negative, and I still look. As someone who, I think I even said this in the chat at one point, I was like, look, as someone who gets mad at games, gets annoyed with games that like don't properly like look at their save system and go, hey, how does this really work with an adult's life? And properly like have that like where you can either save at any time or spread out save points enough to where like I can go in, get something done, and then like save and back out in 20 minutes, right? Because like that's what life is when you're an adult.
Yeah,
you have 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20, 30 if you're lucky. And if you're lucky,
so
you
I
get
go
all
5
of it
hours
it all collapses.
for stupid chairs. Because I was watching live at one point in the car. And then I was like, oh, this is dumb. I'm not doing this. And I'm like, so I just like jumped it, right? And I was like, I'll keep up with it in other ways. But I will say, all in the game actually brought up the actual views it got. Was it 275 million views? That's a lot, right? And it did work. And back to Kofi's, I think, original question was like, how am I feeling about the movie? I'm still mixed, but it is.
Oh yeah, me too.
It is cool to see like some of those names. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Alan Cummings' name pops up, and I'm like, oh snap, they're bringing back Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
that's cool.
that got a big that got one out of me. That's where I was like, oh no, I was actually surprised Rebecca Romaine would come back.
Me too.
Rebecca Romaine's another one. Yeah,
I was
really
surprised
shocked
about that. I was
she used to be naked.
Wow. Yeah, I was saying,
Channing Tatum
Marvel,
was obviously
let's be clear. Oh yeah, yeah. I saw some reaction videos to Channing Tatum. Some of y'all are corny. I'm just gonna put it out there like that. Yo,
I was gonna sing a song, but it's not. The song is not. I don't think PG for the podcast.
No,
but anyone who watched Jimmy
Kofi already
Kimmel
said
knows.
asshole, so we're good. Like asshole. We have to put the explicit title, so go for it.
No, we don't. We can get away. I don't know if you've seen the TV these days. You can get away with a lot more these days. Don't keep it PG.
Hey man, Raw even let some of their F chants go on the latest
Yeah,
Raw. Like,
see that.
Oh, we've crossed it.
I love
We're an
it.
idiocracy. We've crossed the Rubicon. You can say all this foul stuff.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah. I think you get like 5 Fs now before you get in trouble on TV or something like that. It's crazy. We keep moving the goalposts. But so let's talk. Okay, so we did the reveal. We've analyzed that. Yeah, I mean, I think they did a good job because I started to get the rhythm of it about an hour and a half into, where I was I set the volume so the white noise wasn't like all up in my face because I was trying to watch other stuff, do other stuff. But I had it high enough so that when it started to build up again, where it was like, and they did a good job with the sound where it was like, and it was letting you know, like, oh yeah, start paying attention again. Like, and so you really just had to kind of listen for that sound. And every time that came, you're like, ooh, a new chair. But the memes of people talking about the chairs was hilarious. Mm-hmm. You guys are hilarious on the internet. And yeah, it was funny to see and that's what Marvel did that was really savvy. The amount of web content that was generated from this was insane. Like just the memes, pictures, like people cracking jokes, like all of that, the interactions, the TikToks, like it went crazy. I opened up the BBC UK web news site when I was in the midst of doing this, and even they were reporting on this, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, wow, okay. Once the BBC is like, Avengers reveals a new cast of the new movie. I was like,
I was waiting to see if the accent popped.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay, all right, like they did it. Like it was everywhere. You know, the amount of companies that jumped on board and started trying to ride the wave. Like DC's putting out, like you see the memes of like Doomsday will return in Avengers Doomsday. Like everybody started putting together, and they're hilarious. If you haven't seen them, go out there because people started making their own reveals of just the most absurd characters who are going to be in Avengers Doomsday, and it's funny. But yeah, they did a good job. So, and all of a sudden, the narrative before this was how broken Marvel was. How are we ever going to pull off a culminating event because we've had nothing to lead us up to it, and now the buzz has just switched in a day. So, let's talk about the actual film, though.
That's the truth.
Let's talk about the actual film. So, I mean, clearly this feels like that Ultimate Universe. I forget the name of it, when the Ultimate Universe died and they had their incursions and then it led into Secret Wars there. I feel like we're just doing that in a different way, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Combining some other stuff. Like, I feel like this is going to be, what was that called? Like Ultimate, oh man, I can't remember. Yeah, where the Ultimate Universe died off through incursions and they had to fight for their world in Secret Wars against the main Marvel Universe, and then everything got mixed together, and that's how Miles ended up in the main Marvel Universe, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, and so I feel like this is the first part of that story. Worlds dying, each world fighting to survive and do that, right?
Is this the Avengers versus X-Men that you're talking
basically,
about?
I think they're taking several things they're going to pull from. But I think one of the biggest ones is going to be Avengers versus X-Men, which is the X-Men know their world is dying and they're going to fight for it to live. But to do that, they got to take on, because that was what was set up at the end of I'm the only one who saw Captain America 4.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Life update. Matt saw Captain America 4. But that's what that was what
I think I said it last week too. I was like, oh, I paid to see it. Because we didn't get any screens or anything like that. So
No, we didn't. But that was what was set up at the end, right? Like in the post-credit scene, spoilers with the leader. He meets Sam. Sam visits him in prison, and he says that he's calculated that this multiversal war is happening. And he sets up the most interesting thematic thing for me, which is like, yeah, you guys are all heroes, right? But like, what happens when you're a hero who has to kill other heroes just to make sure to heroically save your own world? And I think that's the kind of thematic premise of Doomsday is, yeah, it's Avengers versus X-Men, but it's also like the moral dilemma of these people who are heroes but have to do something pretty gnarly to this other world for their own survival. And so I think that's a fun thing to kind of put in there. And of course, there are going to be people caught in the middle, like the Fantastic Four, who have their own thing and are trying to stop probably Doom from being the one who's going to seize control of this whole cataclysmic event and make a battle world, right? And then we get Secret Wars. So I think this one will be kind of a lot of people getting knocked off as this cataclysm happens, but then the Fantastic Four, whomever, get together and they make the life raft or whatever that version of it is. If you don't know what we're talking about, in the 2010 Secret Wars, yeah, all the multiverse collapsed, all these different worlds collided. Doom used the power of the Molecule Man, and I'm really curious if they're going to put Molecule Man in this anywhere, to kind of pull together fragments of realities into his own mix-matched battle world. And the Fantastic Four and other heroes use their powers or science to survive and make it to Doom's world. And so that's basically what I think is happening in these movies. And so, yeah, watching the X-Men just come to the Avengers world or vice versa and them battling it out is going to be Avengers versus X-Men, the superior version, right? Like, this is going to be like the one we should have gotten in the comics. My jaws are tired. Matt, what do you think?
No, I agree. I think it's all...
Wait. Dom Clane, he said... Okay, so Dom Clane over at Twitch... Dom McClain, sorry, over on Twitch says that the Loki part is the switch. That instead of trying to explain Molecule Man and all that, Loki will be the Molecule Man. Which makes sense.
I think is smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it's
makes
smart.
Much more sense.
Don't go trying to...
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
Yeah, and I'm with All in the Game on YouTube. If we can also somehow pull together this whole anchor being thing, maybe make a surprise return for give Elizabeth Olsen her queen status like you should. Make her like the most important thing in this when they have to solve this problem. Like they need an anchor being to like rival Loki or something like that. Yeah. Let's get Scarlet Witch back. But yeah, so all right. What do you guys, Janelle, as our most casual Marvel fan, how do you feel about any and all of this? How many of these projects have you ever seen? How many of these actors do you even know?
I know all these actors. I've seen all of the X-Men. Like, of course, I remember Kelsey Grammer's Beast and Rebecca, and I remember all of that. I haven't rewatched it in a long time, but like, I mean, of course, no, I know all of these actors and the roles that they're going to play, and I'm not. I'm really excited. I don't see why anyone would be like unhappy about this announcement. Honestly, I love that I was called out in the chat and they were like, how pissed off is Janelle that Doctor Strange wasn't announced? And yes, I'm sad. I'm like, where's my Strange? But I have faith that he'll be there in the next one. And that like, there's a role for him that like, we just don't know yet, but you know, like I'm not like, oh, this movie sucks if there's no Strange in it. Like I'm done. Like I'm definitely not there. But I would, yes, we already know that I'm not a big fan of what they've done with Strange, and you know, it's okay. It'll be all right. It means I can still enjoy Loki. I think the thing that I am most excited about, and this might be a weird take, but I'm just really excited to see Loki reunited with his brother. Like the fact that we got that double announcement that they'll both be in that got me like that's the thing that like really hyped me up. And I hope that, you know, Thor will be proud of what Loki's become and like actually know, you know, what he's done for existence. So that's what I was most excited about. And yeah, I think it's just going to be really good. It does make me feel like this doesn't feel like our previous Avengers run. I do feel like I need to put in the work to read, you know, the comics. I would like to have some type of concept of what's happening because it does feel a little out of nowhere a little bit for me, like to just slide into an Avengers just because I haven't been in love with any of these like solo films and it just doesn't feel like anything is meshed together really well. So I just kind of want to know what's going on, really. And
we should totally read Secret Wars.
That would be really awesome.
You got it right behind me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have it behind you? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Let's take a walk.
I mean, I think that would. I think that would be a great idea, though. Like, I mean, yeah, because you're right. Like, there's a lot. I mean, you know, it's not going to be 1-to-1.
Right.
But from the concept art and everything else, I mean, there's going to be a lot of carryover, and Secret Wars is just also really good. So I mean, it never hurts to read a good Marvel story.
Like if I hadn't read any of the Eternal stuff leading up to that film, I probably would have hated it the way that everybody else did. But I think because I did so much comic reading and research, I enjoyed it a little bit more than most people did. So
man. Look at that.
It does make a difference. It makes a difference.
Also, no Eternals in this cast.
No, that was big.
Right. I didn't think about that.
They did not. I was like, because there was a point where we were like, they got to be doing like Harry Styles or somebody's got to be coming back. Angelina Jolie or Gemma Chan or somebody. I was like, it's got to be somebody, right? No, but I think there is because Marvel already teased that this is not the bench, but just a row, to quote.
Right.
So I think there is going to be a big piece of this because remember, all of our quote unquote like central heroes, these are all the new kids on the block, but all of our central heroes have been scattered over the course of phase 4, 5, and 6. So like Doctor Strange is in the dark dimension somewhere, right?
I don't know. Where the heck is he? You're right.
Hawkeye's off somewhere. Like everybody's Captain, you know, Steve Rogers, we don't know where the hell he is. Like Natasha's dead, but like, you know, Marvel rivals, and we're working on an article about how Marvel rivals the game, which, my Captain
crushing.
I'm crushing it. I'm crushing it. I've beaten Jeff the Shark. Every time I beat Jeff the Shark to death, I think of you, Matt. I'm like, is this Matt? Is this Matt that I'm killing
it could
right
be,
now?
though. You never know. If I got some healing missions to do, it's gonna be Jeff, or it's gonna be Invisible Woman, who is like,
Invisible Woman's nasty in that game. Sue Storm is so low key than one of the nastiest players in that game. Like, a really good Invisible Woman is like, that team is impossible to beat.
Yeah,
it's
insane. Now you got Orange
you
Creamsicle Venom in the game now. Go get that, by the way. You should.
Yeah. No, Marvel Rivals is great, but like, that story is doing its own Secret Wars thing. Like, it's literally putting a blueprint in front of you. Every time I play, I'm like, is this like the MCU test run? Like, because the whole story is them coming together to stop like Doom and Dracula and symbiotes and stuff. So yeah, and all the characters are pulled from different realities, and the conversations they have are like little dialogue are fascinating. Like, yeah, because it's like Punisher meeting Captain America, but the Captain America he meets doesn't F with him. He's like, oh man, you're crazy. But yeah, so I could see that happening for Secret Wars. Like, I could see the same exact scenario. Like, we need people to fight for the world, and so they find a way to pull basically versions of all our heroes from different realities. So we get the original OG Avengers back, but different kinds. So they get different things to do. So like, the Natasha who comes back possibly isn't the one who died on Vormir. It's like a Natasha who went down a very different path. Because then you're getting into classic stories like Avengers Forever, which is still one of the best Marvel multiverse timeline stories ever told. It's all about Kang and Mortis influencing an event, and why like the Avengers are this kind of central nexus core thing to the universe. Yeah, I'm down for a story like that. Yeah, Spider-Man.
We need to touch on Spider-Man, because like,
you gotta stop today. These
well, I feel like that's what everybody's like so pissed off about, and it's in your show notes. So hey, don't come at me, bro.
No, I'm not talking about you saying that. I'm saying the phrasing. The chat has already. Your phrasing today is choice.
Oh, God.
We got to touch on Spider-Man is a sentence.
Is it though?
It's a little bit, but we're gonna move on. Let's move on. Let's keep this high school and above. So yeah, the whole thing about this is we didn't get people like Tom Holland Spider-Man, but we know that we're getting Spider-Man 4 like in between this, and there's been major questions about what that's going to be about. So the theory that's going on right now is that I'm trying to read and just make sure I say this.
I was right, like, pause for effect.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to make sure I'm just looking at the information one more time so I don't say the wrong thing, so we don't go overboard.
Oh, yeah.
But that right now, that Spider-Man 4 is going to be set concurrently with the events of Avengers Doomsday. So, like, whenever things are happening with Doomsday, kind of Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to be off on his own dealing with that. And so we don't quite know what it is. We don't know. I mean, now this whole Sadie, when we did the Sadie Sink thing, I had missed the reporting that she was already being rumored to be cast in X-Men along with a group of other people as Cyclops, as Kitty Pryde. My boy from Baby Girl is going to be Cyclops, apparently. Like, and he's a good actor. He's been in a couple things, so I could see that. But yeah, there's a big question about what Spider-Man 4 is going to be, because obviously it will have to deal with some kind of incursion in, Tom Holland going from street guy to the death of the universe. But we're hearing wild reports like it could be a street level thing versus the Chameleon, and how that fits into a multiversal incursion story. And the animated Spider-Verse films is still one of the craziest things I think we got to figure out here. So I now have no freaking idea what Spider-Man 4 is. Anybody else?
Not at all. Not even a little.
It does make the Sadie Sink thing more interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Jean Grey thing is starting to feel not so crazy.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like some of those theories. Yeah, or even, I mean, look, even for some of the, like, look, the MJ theory is still the prevailing one, regardless of anything else. And you go, okay, well, that you could bring in another like version of that or something and then spin that out. Like, there's, when you're dealing with multiverse stuff, you can do all that kind of thing and work that in. Like, nothing's really off the table. So it does lend a lot more credence to some of those wilder theories that we thought, is what it is, or like she's not Jean Grey, or maybe she's just a side character. No, she probably is one of those bigger names, right? So that actually makes me more excited, I think, for Spider-Man 4, but also the fact that if it is taking place during the movie, then it will also, even though it's its own thing, it will still feel like it's part of it all, especially if Holland's not directly in Doomsday, right? And also that doesn't mean he's not, in the next one, right? Doesn't mean he's not in the next one. Like, he's just not in that one, we know. So again, that kind of makes it like, okay, well, that would still then feel like a part of it. Like, you're in the mix. Spider-Man's in the mix, even though he's not directly interacting with all these other people over here and what this movie is doing. I think that actually helps it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm very much. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, because the comments are going and we're talking about this, but let's all remember, like, Endgame and Infinity War, again, was a 3-card Monty trick. Like, the people we followed in Infinity War, for a large part, we did not follow in Endgame. Hulk's not in Infinity War. We spend a lot of time with Hulk in Endgame. Spider-Man's in Infinity War.
Wow, yeah.
Guardians are. We don't spend any time with them in Endgame until that last sequence, and hardly any kind of screen time or dialogue. So they did this before. Let's not get fooled. There is always a movie can't hold but so many people.
Right.
Like, it's impossible to do
in a meaningful way.
Yeah. Before it's just like a Rick and Morty episode of just random cameos, people, like, and so, like, we gotta break this up somehow, and there has to be a meaning to why we switch character perspective, right? So I think we're going to watch these Phase 4 kids get washed, and that's going to be like the thing. And then we're going to be like, oh, and it's going to be a metaphor. It's going to be like, hey, we tried to do something. We tried to save the world with these guys. They get washed by Robert Downey Jr. And then the OG Avengers come back. And it's like, hey, let's play it again. We're going back. And then we get a new MCU that's hopefully better.
Yeah. And then we get to cherry pick, right? At that point, we get to pick who we want, whose, death was meaningful. Look, I also, in the comments, I agree with you, Braywood. I would love a street level Spider-Man at this point in time, because I've been on everyone knows, you can go back and watch old episodes every time we talk about Spider-Man movie. They never feel like Spider-Man movies. Ironically, No Way Home is the one that felt the most like a Spider-Man movie, and that is all about multiverse. It's all about other Spider-Man, right? But it was because at least it was about Spider-Man and his other Spider-Man, as opposed to like, oh, all these other characters, and then, oh yeah, Spider-Man's in this too, right? In his own movie. So I agree with you. I just think at this point where everything is, I don't know if that's possible. I just don't know. And look, they're looking at No Way Home. No Way Home made a lot of money. And they can't necessarily just go back to that well again, right? With, oh, well, let's just bring Toby back and let's just bring Andrew back. Like, they have to do other stuff too. And Doomsday and Secret Wars offers a opportunity to just do that in a different way. How's Sony not going to take that? They've taken some L's. Okay. They are all like, they're all about like, we need this to perform and do what it needs to do. I kind of get it. Like, having Spider-Man do a whole movie showdown with, Tombstone. It sounds awesome to me, but I don't know if that sounds like $1 billion movie. And this does. This will get people in theaters. I do agree. I saw it in the comments somewhere, though. I do actually still need my Amazing Spider-Man 3 as well. I am an Andrew Garfield supporter here. I do want that. Can we get that at some point, please? So yes, I'm excited for it. I think, despite like what I ultimately want from a Spider-Man movie, I'm actually excited for this. This makes me more excited for Spider-Man 4.
I would get Aaron Pierre as Tombstone.
I get Aaron Pierre as, like, he's fantastic. You put him in any role.
Yeah,
he's gonna be our Jon Stewart, baby. Oh,
he'd be great as Tombstone, though. He's big, he's imposing, he has that voice, like, and he'd be good. So, I mean, I'll say, just going off the comments here in the live chat, I'll be disappointed if Secret Wars doesn't bring me a gang of spider people to come and save the day. Like, I mean, all those from the movies, from the Spider-Verse movies, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, Toby. I want to see, like, a gang of spider people jump out of a portal and just web the living crap out of everybody. Like, I want to see that. So, gimme, Marvel. Gimme. All right.
Give me what I want.
That's Avengers Doomsday, and look how much we just talked about that. Man, we are still in the chairs. We are all still watching the chairs. So, Matt, a little bit of fun for you this week. Daredevil, Born Again, episodes 5 and 6. So, I think they released these as 2-episode event because this is pretty much a good snapshot of where this show went from like old version to new version. This is like 1 episode is from the old version and 1 episode is very much from the new version or the remastered Netflix version, right? So this was an interesting lineup of episodes, and I remember watching them in the screeners and being like, oh, I can't wait for these weeks. So we're going to go full spoilers. We're going to talk. Matt, how did you feel about episode 5 and the bank heist vault with a very special crossover guest star?
My boy Yusuf, Miss Marvel, baby. I was so happy. I was so delighted when I saw him pop up. And then they even talk about Kamala. Oh, such a good vibes. Which, by the way, I know we just talked about like a bunch of Phase 4 characters getting white. Please don't let that be Kamala Khan. Please. I need Miss Marvel in the new, whatever the new MCU is. I need Miss Marvel in the MCU. She's fantastic. And that whole group is. And so this makes me happy. This makes me happy that we're like integrating them and the family, which I adore, into this. And also, it's not even just like a one-off cameo. Like he's important throughout the whole episode. There's things being done with him and Matt as he like goes to break down this heist and just looks, awesome doing it. This was I'm curious though, from what you said earlier, which one of these do you feel? Because I felt like there was a mix of elements from both the old show and new vision in both of these. So which one do you feel like is from the old?
I think episode 5 was definitely
Okay.
the old show. It's episodic, and it didn't even have Matt as Daredevil. It was him just kind of like solving a bank heist as Matt.
He did
Murdock.
Put a mask on.
Mhm.
And it was very episodic in a way that Daredevil never is. Like it
Yeah.
ended with that little perfect thing with the gem and a thing, and that was an episode of TV. Like if you had told me from the makers of She-Hulk, I'd have been like, yeah, that tracks. Like, yeah. And then you get to episode 6, and it's like, oh, we back in Netflix territory now. It's serial killers and deep characterization and these kind of things. And the difference is the new one wasn't as character intensively focused as the old show. It was more superficial. It was like pronounced. It's like, I miss Foggy. We're in counseling. All this stuff. But this 6th episode, you see how they put it together, and it's much more in the vibe of those Netflix episodes, where the whole episode's about Matt and Fisk and them in this kind of reaching this breaking point where they both can't keep up the quote-unquote mask anymore of these new lives they're trying to lead and these new people they're trying to become, and it finally boils over. And that is a Daredevil Netflix episode to me. It's all about character, why we do this, the motivations, these conflicts. Daredevil, I've heard people talking about, if nothing else, the criticisms of the show have reminded us, Daredevil is the most contradiction-built character in Marvel. Like,
that's what makes him great.
Exactly. That's what makes him compelling. Like, he's a blind man, but he sees better than everybody. He is this intensely faithful man who also has this insane, violent rage to go out and beat the crap out of people, then go and get on his knees and beg for forgiveness while holding a rosary, right? And so he's a lawyer who believes in order, the system, and this, but he also doesn't believe in any of that, which is why he has to go out and beat people himself, because he's like, man, this thing I do every day is so effed. Like, it doesn't work. So I have to go out and beat people up to fill in the gaps. And so, he's a very holy man, and he's a total man slut. So, like, Matt Murdock is one of the most fascinating, contradictory characters in Marvel, and that's why people love him, because he's a real person. Like, that's what a real person is. We're a series of contradictions that don't make sense, and we spend most of our lives trying to make sense or reconcile even half of it. But this is not my therapy session. So I thought episode 6 was good about kind of illustrating that, getting us back to those character dynamics that we worked so hard on in the Netflix series, and generally just having that darker, more mature tone to it. Like, when you're watching, like, you're scared for White Tiger's niece when she's on that table, and is Matt going to get there in time? Like,
Yeah.
stakes. When he's fighting Muse, it's not just an easy win. You begin to realize, like, yeah, it's brutal. And we're getting back to that thing where Matt's a human. He's not a superhero swinging on the rooftops and doing all that. And I can't believe they replayed that scene. What is wrong with you all? Stop replaying that ugly scene of him jumping up on Bullseye on the roof. We don't want to see that anymore. But like, yeah, the fight dynamics were back. Like, Matt's taking punishment. He's getting beat up. He's losing steam. He has to get his second wind and do all that. And then just seeing, it's always crazy when you see D'Onofrio in an action scene, but like, it reminds you how terrifying Kingpin is.
Yeah.
And between this and Reacher this week,
fight.
I'm ready for a big man fight. Let's go. Between this and Reacher this week. Yeah. Big man brawls. Like,
make that a WrestleMania match.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fist versus Reacher.
Oh, man.
That'd be fantastic.
Oh, Vince D'Onofrio would be an excellent heel. He'd be an amazing heel.
He'd be fantastic.
Just get in the ring.
And he's like the nicest person, which is just
I know.
crazy.
And so smart. Like, yeah, he'd just be like, you get there, it'd be nice to see you all here tonight in the ring. Yeah, but he'd be great. So yeah, I think this is the point where I'm beginning to have more faith in Daredevil season 2. Like, this was the point. I remember watching screens when I was like, okay. And I can tell you, and I teased you because I said we have to wait for it, and I was honest in the beginning because I didn't spoil anything, but I said, guys, you're gonna have to wait for it a bit. It's gonna take a minute, but by the time the season ends, you're gonna feel like we are, Matt.
Don't do it.
Back. Very back.
God.
We were back this week in the suit. We were so back in the suit.
I'm about to ban that, mute that phrase on social media. I see it so much.
Yeah, so it was. I think this one was funny, but all in all, I had fun with the episodes. I'm having fun with the show. Like, I'm immersed in it again. Are there some scenes where I'm like, yeah, Matt's apartment or his law firm and blah 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 is not the greatest? Yeah, but we're starting to we actually are starting to get born again here. So that's me. What did you guys think?
Oh, that was well done. Well, said the name and everything. Janelle?
I mean, God, I'm obsessed with the show. It is, thank God it's just living up to all the expectations that we had, because, it could have just been way too G-rated, and it's just not. It's just spectacular. I can't even imagine binging this though. Like, Kofi, that must have been intense. It's like, there's a lot going on in every single episode that I don't know.
Oh yeah. Hella notes.
Yeah, I feel like really rewarded just watching it like week to week. This week, 2 episodes felt like I didn't need it, but I'm glad I got it. And Muse is the scariest guy right now because of what he does. When they revealed like the blood paint and stuff. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was
How
so
hilarious was it though? I love there are little dark humor moments in this show that I find very funny.
Yeah.
Like those 2 girls running up on him.
Oh
being like,
my God.
Oh my God, are you Muse? Can we get like a photo? Like,
but like not a selfie. It's just me like artsy.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, that was very well
done. And it's funny because you feel like it could actually happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's how people are today. Like, known serial killer killing in the middle of the street and be like, can I get a photo of this? This would be so good on my Insta. Can we make it like dark?
Just like seeing someone just wearing a mask like that is like, hell no, I'm not talking to that person. I'm running in the other direction. Like,
having lived in New York City, you do encounter that kind of stuff. And you learn very quickly in New York City that life is a series of protecting your energy and your story and where your story goes.
I could hear that.
You're like, you see that guy in the mask on a New York corner painting at night, and you're just like, my story's not going that way.
Nope.
Yeah. Over here. My story took another direction. What happened to that? I don't know. I do that with my kids all the time. They're like, wait, but Dad, what about that? I don't know. He's on a different life journey. I'm sure they'll figure it out. We will never know what happened there. We were over here.
That's so great. But yeah, like big fan. I'm loving it so far. I really have no complaints, and it just feels really good to be into a show like this. And not for nothing, like I haven't been this excited since Loki for a show. So I'm loving it. Yeah.
There are 9 episodes to the chat. There are 9 episodes. So we have 7, 8, and 9. And I'm going to tell you, it's a fun back half. It's a fun back half.
Do you think are they doing like a double release for any of those?
No, the rest, this was the only other double release. The rest will be weekly.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I get it
All
why they did, because 5, if they had just released 5, people would have been like, this show's going nowhere. Because it was an episodic one-off kind of show.
Yeah, I could see that.
6 actually pushes things forward and gets us back in the costume. And I think they knew if they delayed it anymore, like if we had to wait for 5 and then go do 6 and only at the end of 6 we got back in the costume, people I think psychologically would have been like, this is way too long.
You're right. It was a good choice to release. I mean, look, I'm a proponent of the binge streaming format, so I will always take all of the show's episodes all at once. Like that is just because I directly control when I watch it, how much I watch, all that, right? It's in my hands at that point. So I always prefer that almost 9 times out of 10. However, they've done a good job with keeping the pace on these weeklies with things like that, doing the double episode premiere, doing the like, at least if you're gonna do that, you know, like Andor's about to do, right, with these 3 episodes. Like if you're going to do that, then strategically do it and know the show you've put out there, right? Because I don't think every show needs or can support a weekly release. Like they just can't. So
no.
But this has been great. And I gotta say, and the comments have been mentioning it too, Muse, they've done a fantastic job with Muse in the aura, right? And just the creepy, the disturbing nature of the character. They've done a really good job with adapting that. That was a really, I think, a great character to adapt for a show like this. And they've also nailed the parallels. That's something they've done all season, but this episode especially, right? The whole overlaying between Matt and Fisk doing the same thing just in different ways at the same time, and both can't go. The way they've been showing that has been wonderful. So this is, you know, there've been some missteps along the way, but I think they're doing their best work towards the end. So hopefully for me it keeps up.
This, I think we underestimate some of the subtlety and the depth to the storytelling here. Like when I said 6 is like the Netflix shows and about character, like it's like, yeah, you can go back and rewatch that episode, and I was seeing it the second time and just see the little details, like, and you realize like Fisk gets triggered by that picture he sees of himself that Muse draws, right? So it is connected. Like he sees himself with a double face and the thing, and he's staring at that for a while. And it's only when you go back you realize, like, yeah, that began to make him kind of think, like, I have been keeping this beast in the cage for a while, literally and figuratively, and I got to let it out and, you know, get some work in and blow off some steam. So it was good. I think, and I'm going to write an article about this. I think we figured out, I think to Matt's point, that it's neither binge nor weekly. Batch episodes, I think, are the best.
Yeah.
Like give me a series of things that will occupy me for more than just an hour, for a couple hours, or like a couple times during a weekend or something like that. And then not too much that I'm beginning to lose. My eyes are glazing over and I'm not actually watching, but 2 or 3 episodes a week. Yeah. I like that. I like batch. The old batch. And changing it up is great. Like sometimes, you know, you want to move a little faster, give them 2 as a special event, and then just go back to weekly or change it up. But all right. Let's take a little break and then talk, because we got to move this week, as our title says. It is Ultimate Marvel versus Absolute DC. Stay tuned. All right, so DC's Absolute line and Marvel's Ultimate line both released multiple books this week. Let's get into it. Real quick, we can knock off, I think, Absolute Wonder Woman really quick because this is a continuing story or the next story arc after the first excellent arc we got. And this one, at the end of the last arc, we had Wonder Woman literally dragged to hell. And this was an interesting change up because unexpected kind of flashback issue, which I found, I didn't think it had the epic momentum of the first arc, but it was very interesting. And I think we're fleshing out more of Absolute Wonder Woman's history, world, and lore. And I found in her relationship with the gods and all of that. And I think that's the most interesting change to this Wonder Woman is that a lot of the magic and stuff she's drawing on and the power are related to the gods. And so there is a relationship there that we haven't explored in Diana and her kind of main thing. Because usually it's just like her, it's like, hey, you're the daughter of somebody or you're battling somebody. But like this,
Right.
her having this kind of symbiotic relationship to the gods and drawing for them and being kind of like, that's interesting to me. Artwork was gorgeous too.
Oh man, Mattia. I hope I am saying the last name correctly, but Mattia de Ulysse. Stunning. This artwork is stunning, and like Hayden Sherman's artwork is amazing in the first arc. This artwork just like it fits the whole gods vibe, right? We're dealing with Hades. We're dealing with like
Prometheus.
Oh my god, Prometheus, and like we're dealing with these bigger than life things. So like to have this artwork, just the helmet. There's a scene early on. It's like just Wonder Woman's helmet.
I knew you were gonna love it.
And look, here's the thing. I know I have a thing for helmets. Evidently, I didn't even know I had that. I thank Peter, the producer, for making that thing. But like, it's just gorgeous. It was stunning, right? Just the armor and everything else. Like this book is a stunner. But before I jump into any of that, Janelle, what'd you think?
Oh, dude, this was my favorite book of the week, actually.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I hope that's okay. I'm just so invested. I think after reading that last arc, I'm just so into it. And I'm even this person with TV shows. I love background episodes, like where they give you like how something became what it is. And we had so much of that in this. Like what did this lasso come from? And it's just, how did we get Pegasus back? We just got all of that lore and all of that story. So I love this kind of book. Love it.
Man, that's hyper. Look, we're going to talk about 4 books, right? But there was even more weeks. So like your best book of the week is great. Like for me, it's my favorite absolute book of the week.
Not me.
There was one book that ranked above it for me in the ones we'll get to, but like this book is just, again, Kelly Thompson just knows how to flesh out things to such a, there's so many little details, and like they explain the Nemesis lasso, right? And just that story of like how that was created, my boy Pegasus, how he comes back, how it all ties into everything. It's one of the things I love about Superman and what that series does, and like tying things in from way back and making it all feel relevant. Absolute Wonder Woman does the exact same thing. But yeah, let's move to Absolute Martian Manhunter. Kofi, that was a good segue there.
This was my book. I wish I had the physical media on this. I was really pissed that I had to read this on a tablet. I might actually go out and get the physical copy of this just so I have it. Just because it's crazy. When you're talking about Absolute and reinterpreting these characters, it gets a little bit more abstract now that we're getting into secondary characters like Flash, like Martian Manhunter, who aren't as iconic as Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman for being these things. Like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batwoman, or Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are known each. Like if I break it down and say, tell me who Superman is, you're like, oh, Superman's the alien who wants to be like a human and like all that. Who's Batman? Oh, Batman's the traumatized dude who wants to bring order to a chaotic world. Who's Wonder Woman? Oh, Wonder Woman is like the goddess, but who loves and has more compassion than anybody. All of that. But when you get into like Martian Manhunter and Flash, it gets much more abstract and like crazy. And, these are people who are playing in alien worlds, time travel, speed, all that kind of crazy stuff. So I expected this second wave to be a bit more of a challenge, but I was fascinated by Martian Manhunter. This is one of the most unique comics I think I've ever read. The artwork to go with it. I mean, this is everything you want in comics. It's like the perfect synthesis between like words, pictures, kind of outlandish creative concepts, and just, fantastical stuff. But I like the way we take this familiar John's detective story in this new context of being an FBI agent, and that this is essentially a mystery issue in the first issue that's not explained to you for most of it. You're made to experience it as the character is, and their whole unique way of Martian kind of intimacy and telepathy. It goes beyond just our concepts of like telepathy. Like they're actually creating like what it is to be Martian versus human in this issue, and like how Martians are able to connect with the others and do this thing that humans don't do. And doing it through this smoke metaphor and breathing in smoke and being able to sense everything apart. It's because it's playing on pheromones and things like that that are very real science that we don't, acknowledge all that time, about how much, animal instinct, sense, things like that play in our social interactions and stuff like that. But yeah, this book is just psychedelic. It's crazy. It's out there. The artwork supports it all. And getting to that last page, I was so mad that I didn't have a physical copy.
I know. Okay, here's the thing, because I want to get to Janelle. I will say there are very few times these days where like a digital book, like that I'm disappointed that I don't have the physical like at the moment. Like I go back and get varied covers a lot of things for my physical issues, but like there are times when I'm like, oh, I wish I had that right here. And this was one of those. This was one of the rare times. I'm still fine with digital. Like I have most of my stuff on digital, but this was one of those. Just like the all-in special in the flip book, right? It was like, I wish I had the thing, which I did end up going to finally tracking down a copy of that. Janelle, what did you think?
This was a little hard for me to follow, but I just didn't know. I didn't know what. I wish I was prepared before I started. So this one was the toughest one for me to get into. Honestly, it was just a little confusing. I didn't realize that the Martian Manhunter thing is similar to like Venom. Like I guess he's like living in his brain or something, like his mind or something. I don't know. That's the vibe that I got. Like that it's like in there.
Yeah, that's a massive change. I mean, yeah. Before John's is a Martian pretending to be a human.
Right. Okay. Thank you. That's what I thought. Because I was like,
together.
Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Because I was like, maybe
this is very much new territory. So you're in the right space, right? Like, and it's just whether it kind of landed, for you, and it doesn't, seem to have.
I feel like if I was stoned, I would have been so into this, like for sure. Too bad I don't do that anymore, but like, this one would have been fun.
I'm probably I sit somewhere in between, because like I still loved Absolute Wonder Woman more than Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I'm probably in the space of this as where I am with Absolute Flash. Like these two debuts, I think, are more in line with like Absolute Superman, where it didn't, to me, have the strongest debut compared to Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman, but over time, it was one of those where I was even talking about Absolute Superman, and it has actually done that, right? It has moved up the list because of the amount of creativity and what the scope of what they're doing. It's just something that like plays out over more books. And so I think Absolute Martian Manhunter is absolutely that. I didn't even mean to do that. I think that is, over time, we will see this could become like one of my favorite books just because of the creativity. And like Kofi said, I think a big part of it is just the relationship between the Martian part and the human part, and like how different that is. We've not really seen it be kind of like you were talking about, this symbiotic relationship where they're kind of fighting for space in each other's head, and one is trying to understand the other. I thought that was great. I thought Javier's art is amazing, and on every book They do, but this one really like nailed that. Just kind of weird, psychedelic is probably the best way to describe it. Right, that vibe. I just think they did such a great job with that, and how like almost like the creativity and like the Martian vision and all that. Like that's just such a great like take those swings. I want people to take those big swings. I just don't like the character as much. Like that's my main issue with the book, and I think that'll play out over time, right? But like
because he's neglectful to his wife.
I look, okay, he's not really like a great person.
Yeah.
And I think
that's kind of the point, I think.
Yeah.
It is, right. But I don't like I need to kind of it's hard for me. It's always been harder for me, and I give credit to like books like Rogue Sun who have taken that concept and still brought in some relatability, because that's what you have to have at that point. If I don't like your personality or the way you kind of operate as a human being, then I need to be able to relate to you in some way. And those books take characters that are kind of more on that side, and they make you relate to them so you can at least understand where they're coming from. And in this one, there isn't that yet. I say yet because I'm sure it'll be there. But as of right now, I don't really like this character. I didn't really like him aside from the Martians. The Martian stuff is what makes him the most fascinating, right? So for me, we don't really get to that towards kind of the second half when that really starts to take over. And so I'm interested to see where this goes. But just like as that thing of, I like this character, I can get behind them. Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and even Absolute Superman by issue 2 had that, and I don't have that yet. So I think that's what holds it back for me. That's just a me thing, though.
I think I changed over at a certain point. Like, I don't need to like a character. I just need to be interested in them. And I think for me, what I liked about this is I already see the story we're going to be telling, and I find it very interesting. I see, I don't think anything was done by accident. So this John Johns is an FBI agent, right? FBI agents and law enforcement agents in general are very kind of cut and dry people about how I see this, that, and the other, how I view the world. I'm very resolute in my beliefs and things like that. And they're cynical. They can look at humanity in a very cynical. If you ever spent time with an FBI agent or a cop or something like that, EMT, they tend to have a cynical view of humanity because they see every day the worst that we do to each other. And so I feel like this is going to be a kind of maybe one of the better DC stories I've seen in a long time, if they pull it off, where this Martian is going to teach this guy to be more human. Than he can. And learn about it. And I think the neglected wife is a purposeful short foreshadow. Like, this Martian is going to help this dude improve his marriage because he'll be able to sense actually what his wife is feeling and thinking and do all that. And that's going to change him. And I think we could get some good. I think it'll be interesting to have a detective story, a detective noir story, where the detective is suddenly given these empathic powers, like as a hardened gumshoe in a hardened gumshoe's world, with this increased empathy and awareness of what's going on around him. And what does that do to you as a detective? Because that can be very freeing, like in the wife, or it can be really messed up when you're just walking around and you're in like a jail or surrounded by, what does the smoke look like if he has to go to a prison and visit somebody, right? Like, what are you absorbing in there? Like, all of these questions are now forming in my head that I think this could be very good. And like, what does it affect the Martian when he begins to see all of these experiences with humans? Like, what does that do?
Great ideas. And I think over the long haul, this could be this is probably going to be a great series. Like, and again, we're splitting hairs here. I still really liked this. I still really liked Flash, because these are they're doing some great. They're taking some swings and they're doing some really original stuff. I like. So yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah,
Spider-Man. Finally. We're getting to our Spider-Man. No, Matt, go.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ooh, I'm excited.
My favorite book of the week.
Yes.
This was my favorite. This was my favorite book of the week.
I knew it.
There was just, Ultimate Spider-Man is just, killing it. And especially after that just crazy Craven part of this arc throwing everything in that we kind of had established in the chaos, right? Harry's gone, the family's on the run, all that stuff. And then, picking up here, and this is just there's been a lot of discussion in comic circles recently over the last probably over the last month, right, about Spider-Man as a character and how family has worked into that, especially MJ and those things. So that topic is once again a hot topic, thanks to Marvel editors and things making comments and stuff. And then you get an issue like this, and you just go, I don't know how anyone can look at old mandates and go, yeah, that's the way. And then you have something like this, which just brings out so much of the richness of that character through the prism of Mary Jane and his kids. And like, that's half this issue. It's half this issue. And it's just, and we even get, like, in full spoilers here, by the way, we even get Sandman making his debut. And again, like the way that's introduced and how it feeds into, again, the family dynamic here with Peter. I just look at that and go, I don't understand that conversation anymore. I just feel like that is just holding on to something because it is old and that's what you know. I don't understand how this book exists and those ideas still exist. To me, those don't correlate. So yeah, this is, and talk about Fisk making the rounds. Good Lord, we get great Fisk moments here too. It's insane.
Yeah. Kofi?
Yeah. You wanted to cook on this.
Oh no, I'm so impressed with this, really. Like, I'm so impressed with the Ultimate series in general. And I'm like, I have too many comics to read, but I don't care. I was like, I'll read 3. I couldn't stop. I just kept going because they're all so good. Right now, I feel like we're just in like a hot spot for comics. But yeah, this was amazing. I feel like this is just a whole different side of Peter Parker that, like, I wasn't ready for and I didn't know existed, and I'm all about it. And I obviously don't know where we're going to go from here because it seems pretty hopeless where they're at, but it's so intriguing, man. This is a really good book.
Yeah. I just like seeing things like Peter and Richard interacting and that whole parenting metaphor about kind of extending a leash and letting your kids grow up and having to do that is, that spoke to me right now. But these issues are very complete. They're very immersive and, like, it feels like you get your money's worth out of each issue of this. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a whole story. There's a lot that happens, a lot of character development and movement. And I'm glad that we can use time and move without having to go through each minor step of things. Like,
right. Yeah.
We don't have to pick up from Peter and coming home and saying that they got to run and MJ being like, oh my God, like, blah, blah, blah. We just, we pick up when they're on the run, they're in an RV, and, we start a new story. And so it's like every issue is like a very good episode of prestige TV. Like, you get a whole lot of depth. You get an individual story. You get movement on the serialized story and character arcs. And so, yeah, this is Jonathan Hickman basically sticking a middle finger up at Marvel editing and being proven invalidated as completely correct. And, like, yeah, I'm not going to mention the editor who said what he said this week, but, like, you don't understand comics. Comics are butterfly novels. They are supposed to change. There are not supposed to be set rules for what you do. Like, if it doesn't work, you always have some event that can bring you back to a status quo from before, or retcons or whatever. But, like, you're supposed to take swings and go in every direction and try everything and, see what works. And if something works, then just you evolve the status quo. Like, we all grew up. Peter Parker has to grow up. And there's always going to be kids who want to see Peter Parker, but you can always crank out a new cartoon. But, like, there are adult fans of Spider-Man, and thinking we're not a good demographic to service is really stupid. Because we're going to be the ones who buy the movie tickets too. Mm-hmm. So, right. Yeah.
Yep. And that, you're right. That's where cartoons, that's where all the animated series that just came out, right? Like, that's all that stuff feeds in. You can have a Spider-Man for everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean. No.
Yeah. Spidey and his amazing friends got those kids and sold mad merch for the franchise. Like, it sold crazy merch. And so, like, But you can sell Spider-Man everywhere. The people buying Spider-Man movie tickets, the people buying $60 Spider-Man games and buying these comics and making them run up the sales charts aren't kids. That's not kids. Like, that's adult Spider-Man fans. There's a demographic of them. So, boom.
Boom.
All right. Ultimate Wolvie.
Got one more. Ultimate Wolvie.
This book is pulling off a minor miracle of, you want to talk about absolute, but this book is pulling off the minor miracle of getting you so engrossed in this world, another corner of the Ultimate Universe, where Wolverine essentially does nothing in every issue.
That's so true.
He doesn't say God. He's not like a real protagonist. He's just this thing around which all this other stuff is revolving. But it's amazing and it's fascinating. And seeing some, although was I the only one who got skeeved by the romantic aspect of this? I was like, no.
Oh, like, yeah.
Are we talking about Remy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Remy and Kate.
And Kitty. Yeah. I was like, I had to put down the book. I was like, I can't look at this. Secondhand awkwardness. And
sacrilege.
So, but that was crazy. That was crazy, bro. But no, it was good. Gambit's having a good week. Gambit's having a real good week. Channing Tatum's getting in the movie. He got that Uncanny X-Men thing with the VIG. Now we got this, and From the Ashes is trash, by the way.
Did this start with X-Men 97 as far as like his little
Gambit resurgence? Oh, hell yeah. Gambit had been gone. He was gone for a long time.
Right, because like he's in if you like read TVA, there's an alternate Gambit in that book still that is like become one of its more popular characters. And then there's an alternate version of Gambit now, I feel like, in like every single space they can fit. It's like, we gotta put a Gambit in there. Like it's awesome. Good for him. I love it because longtime Remy fan, but still it's nice.
Our 90s guys are getting upgrades. Remy's back in fashion. Maggot is now Omega level. Like we running up the charts here. But Ultimate Wolverine's great. It's a great book. It's terrifying. It's dark. It's terrifying, and it's just like, again, I'm sorry, man, but like what these other books are doing compared to the main lines is nuts. Like, I like Uncanny X-Men. I like Gail Simone, but I'm sorry, if I'm picking one Gambit story this week, this one blew that other one out of the water. Yeah. That Uncanny X-Men got washed to the point where I just put in a story where it's like, it's now 12 issues in of these From the Ashes books we're hitting. We got to talk about how trash this is and why you should have never ended Krakoa. You fools. You fools. Like, we are, oh my God, this new stuff is so bad compared to Krakoa. Ultimate Wolverine.
Ultimate Wolverine. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, and I'm not even that high on Ultimate X-Men. Okay, I'm not high on that, like as high as everybody else is on it, but I know I'm in the minority. It feels like now. I don't feel like I was in the minority at the beginning.
Yeah,
I feel like as time has gone on.
When did that happen?
Yeah, right. Because like I remember everyone complaining about it. I have continued to like not be a huge fan, but like it has garnered a huge following, and props to it. I'm glad everyone's loving it. It's not really clicking for me, right? But like even still, the characters they're messing with over there, the creativity, again, the swings they are taking, and then you get Wolverine into it. Like they are just doing, I don't know, man, these books just feel like breath of fresh air. There's just a lot of new ideas flowing. And here's the thing, I'm okay with you ending Krakoa if you have a plan that sounded better than Krakoa. It's one of those things like when a football team fires a coach and then you go, well, okay, well, who's out there to hire? Well, we only had A, B, and C to pick from, so we went with the best of. Well, then why did you fire your other coach who was better than them? Like, to me, it's like if you're gonna do something, have a plan. And if Rising from the Ashes was the plan, From the Ashes is the plan. I don't know what planet that was like. Oh yeah, this is better than Krakoa. I don't know. How long do you think it is? A year before we see, because Krakoa still exists. Yeah. Right. There's still that little pocket over there that it's happening. How long before we see that brought in somewhere? Just somewhere. Just like, oh hey, here it is over here for all you people that don't like this. And I agree. By the way, there's been issues because I see it in the comments. Absolutely. There have been issues and moments in the new books that have been really good. I'm not saying it's all been trash. I'm not saying that like every single thing. There's been some Cyclops moments that have ruled. I like some of the Juggernaut stuff that that McKay is doing. I like Simone overall. I really enjoy Simone's Uncanny X-Men, but those are like 2 books, and I even like Exceptional and what that's doing over there. But look at the amount of X-Men books that are out and all the things they're doing over there, and compared to the stuff that is working or that has worked, and X-Men is uneven for me at times. Like there's moments, but I don't always love the overall story and stuff. So like, I don't know, man. That's just to go from Krakoa to that's a step down to me.
I think it's just for me, we're a year into this and there's nothing to this still.
Yeah.
Like, what is all this? It just feels like we're on a game board and it's like there's Gray Malkin prison, there's Alaska, and there's Louisiana, and there's New York. But what does this all have to do with anything? Is there an overarching thing to all this? Right. Are there any real big villains? Have we figured anything significant out? If Xavier had some weird ex-girlfriend and he continues to be a toxic man trash heap, like walking around, Manhunt, like the battle for Gray Malkin, or like the 2 teams come together, that was like a wet fart in the wind. Like nobody cared. Manhunt with Charles Xavier coming back has been also just like, okay, sure. Yeah, because he's, some Shi'ar stuff. We don't care. Like, nobody cares. Like, none of this is any kind of bigger story is not being told. Now we're trying to bring back Legacy Virus, maybe. Like come on. Like, yeah. There's nothing new about this. Krakoa's whole thing was, whatever you felt about it, it was a swing into something completely new for X-Men. Like, completely new and different. This is just trying to make the X-Men back into a Saturday morning cartoon in the Marvel Universe, and floundering as you do it. Like,
and we already have that, and it's better in X-Men 97.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like
so.
it's better. Before Janelle, did we get your opinion on Ultimate Wolverine?
I mean, I'm just with you guys on this completely. Really.
And also I think to Kofi's point, I think it's just hilarious that Wolverine doesn't do much.
Yeah,
I think that's hilarious. Seriously. And I really hadn't thought about it until then. Mm-hmm. I did want to give a shout out to Hush 2 did start in Batman. And that one, speaking of things that kind of like, I don't know, that one was fine. It was fine to me. Like but it's gorgeous. Oh my God, it's beautiful. Jim Lee art is always great. But yeah, it was just fine, right? I'm curious to see where they go from here. And then, but I will say, I would, if I was going to recommend something this week outside of like the absolute and ultimate stuff, Superman, you should go read Superman number 24. Because the stuff they've been doing in Superman number 20, like this 2-year run has been fantastic, and they continue to pay off things all along the way and pull from those early issues. And just seeing the previews of 25, Marilyn Moonlight's back. They're pulling like her back into this mix, and like all of that stuff again is gonna pay off. And we get black suit Superman Lex versus Superman. And oh, by the way, old good Lex is sitting over there still around. Like there's so much at play. I adore Superman. So yeah, you should definitely go read that. Oh man,
this is kind of good game-changing issue you want, like your Winter Soldier type issue where you're like, oh, there's been some shady stuff going on this whole time right under our noses, and it's just like, because that book started out kind of boring, and I was like, okay, like it's Creeper and Lois, and I was like, okay, and then halfway through, there's a big twist, and you're like, oh, and then like, everything you thought was going on, you didn't know, but like. And it was good to see Mercy Graves, because I was like, what are they doing with this whole Mercy Graves thing? And then, classic Mercy. So, now we're set for one hell of a 25. And like, and I can't believe it took this long for anybody to think up Lex getting himself his own Superman body. Like, that's nuts.
Right? Yeah. It's kind of like, how does that not happen? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, we could have done Superman 4 Quest for Peace a lot differently. Shout out R.I.P. Gene Hackman. But you could do it. That'd have been so funny. Excuse me. If Gene Hackman had suited up and putting on that weird Solar Man costume.
Someone needs to make that happen and like get to editing on that. Let's make that into a reality. I want to see that on TikTok this weekend. Someone do that.
All right. Well, that's comics.
That is comics.
Oh, okay.
Reacher.
So, yeah, real quick before we get out of here, we got to talk about Reacher. Yo,
So
Reacher season
good.
3. Yeah, TV was hitting this week. Reacher season 3 was ended with one hell of a finale. Like, Reacher finales can be quick affair sometimes. And I thought I was going to be feeling that way this week. But when Paulie climbs out of the ocean and they're on the road, he's like walking up the road. He looks back and he sees homeboy come out again. He's like, "Are you serious?" I was so in. I was like, "Oh my God." I was doing something in the kitchen. I had to stop and just be like, "This is insane." And I had to just watch the last round and the guard booth just like,
it's weird. It's crazy. It's like, it's funny. Like you're like, laughing.
It was hilarious.
It's just so great.
This whole episode, because it had built up so wonderfully all season long.
I stayed up all night watching, like catching up. By the way, I had 3 episodes left, and I was like, "Nah, this is happening."
Well, no, it's worth it though.
Yeah, totally worth it. Totally.
Yeah,
worth it.
All season long, those two were just circling each other, and you're like, they got to have some kind of drag out fight sequence in the end of this, and it did not disappoint. That thing went on for crazy long, was crazy brutal. And they did it. Everybody got like a moment in the finale. And I love this cast of characters. And I like that we are finally locking into real Reacher. Whereas like Reacher comes to a place, does a thing, meets a whole bunch of people, affects a whole bunch of people, leaves. And then we get a new season, lower production costs, new actors coming on, and Alan Richardson doing the whole thing. And I liked Duffy this season because I haven't read the books. So like, and I love the whole reversal with Duffy at the end of the season. I thought that was hilarious where she gives him the speech. And he's just like, wait. And like Reacher is that dad show for me. And I make no qualms about it. I want my dad show. Yeah. So fantastic. Matt, what'd you think?
Oh, everything you guys like, I echo all of those sentiments. That fight ruled. And also I do love that, they're also really smart about like when to bring people back. Like when to bring those characters back that he's met along the way or bring concepts back from those, right? Because it always feels like they're additive. He doesn't leave it all behind. He leaves this ripple effect behind. And so it always kind of comes back around in this season, especially in fun ways. So I look forward to now seeing in season 4 stuff that happened here, what ripple effects those have and what characters maybe pop back in. Like, he really grows the world in such a big way every season. And but this one, man, was fun. This has been such a fantastic show. And Richardson he's just so good in this. Like at this point, I cannot see anyone else being
no.
Agreed.
I also think he does something that the books didn't do, and I would love to talk to him about this if we ever interview him. Which is, I get the sense now, after being a parent that I am the last 10 years, that he plays Reacher like with a tad bit of like autism coding. Like Reacher's like a little bit tickish, like, and especially in this season, I think he really nails it. Like Reacher doesn't have typical neurotypical reactions to things, like how he breaks down information, how he sees things, how he analyzes, his investigative kind of personality, his emotional kind of relationship to other people. The fact that he can do things like kill, it is not just like an action movie comedy. Like he's like, if I can find a rope, like I'll let you live, but if I can't, and he like can't find the rope, so he kills the guy. And it's just like there is a little hint of like that neurodivergent coding that he puts into Reacher, and everything from like really why he has his body the way he does, how he approaches all that. Like you can imagine Reacher's a guy who just looks at his body. He's like, I've got to do 1,000 sit-ups and 1,000 push-ups to get these delts to do this thing, and he does it like every day. And that's why he's such a good investigator. And I feel like they locked that into the character instead of him being like Mr. Cool action guy, like he is. And he's like childlike sometimes when he's talking and trying to relate to people, like especially that speech at the end with Duffy. And he's just like, he doesn't know how to emotionally process that happening to him. And he's like, right. And he's just like, yeah, but it is very kind of like spectrum. And like Asperger's-y, like he's a huge hunky guy, but he's kind of also got a little bit of Asperger's-y thing that makes him a great investigator and think different and do all that stuff. So I thought it was good. And I think they have really, like, Alan Richardson owns that character in a way that goes beyond the books now. And yeah, it's good. So I really enjoyed this season and the cast and everybody.
Bravo.
Oh,
Great season.
Yeah, that was cathartic. White Lotus, how'd you guys feel about the awkward after party episode?
Dude, I can't. I it's a little too far for me. I can't get into it. That kind of threw me off. It threw me off so much that I was like, I don't know if I really want to keep watching this because it's just grossing me out a little too much.
Hey, Janelle, what did we watch? What was that show we watched that was so crazy wild? Was that a Witcher thing?
Probably.
Oh, man. Oh, no, that was
Wait,
Zack
what?
Snyder's. Oh, Zack Snyder's.
Oh,
Remember? And I ended up like
yeah.
turning. I was like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, like kind of one of the first scenes where the bard is screwing the brother and sister. Like, yeah, I was like, okay. Now, this one was good. I liked this one because I mean, this is the one because White Lotus is always about when the dam breaks, like when everybody and all the stuff comes out. And this was that episode. Ooh, but it is hard. So much secondhand cringe in this one.
Yeah.
So much secondhand cringe.
I'm just so happy we got the gun back.
Oh yeah, right. You were really concerned about that guy.
I was concerned about him. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this was great. I think my takeaway from this, and I put it in the show notes, is like Patrick Schwarzenegger, who we saw in Gen V briefly and stuff. Like, you know, he's both. This dude is like a genetic marvel. He's a Schwarzenegger and a Kennedy. And yeah,
That's so crazy.
Right? Think about that for a second. Think about that. He's a Kennedy and a Schwarzenegger.
Everybody wants him to actually be that guy too. Like, I'm sure everybody like now is like, oh, that's who he is. Like, he's not acting, which I feel bad for him.
No, he's a good guy. He's a good actor too.
Yeah.
And I think this was the episode where I was like, okay, this kid's not just like a Nepo baby. He's actually like a good actor.
Yeah.
Like his performance in this episode and just like, I mean, the extreme Mike White is nuts. And, you know, just the extreme nature of all this and the uncomfortable and this, but it was uncomfortable from the beginning. And that's the thing I think White Lotus is so good about is like making you confront, like when you see red flags and you know these things, but you're trying to put it off because it's vacation, it's pretty, but it all eventually boils over, right?
Yeah. This was my favorite season until that stuff happened.
It really disturbed you, huh? Really?
Yeah. Probably not gonna have a second kid now.
Oh, come on, man. Oh,
freaking out, man. I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't need that. I don't need it from any show ever at all. Like,
well, I mean, I think
stakes are already high. Like, didn't need it.
I mean, come on, man. I'm not part of the American prude system. Like, I think there's a point to it with sex, just like violence. There's a point to it. And I think the point to it here is sound, which is
I don't think
this is a family.
That I don't like incest between two brothers.
No, I don't think it's not prudish, but I'm saying I can't see these things and I've got to go run screaming because it's presented in the show.
I didn't scream. I just went, nah. You kind of lost me.
We waited till the final 5 minutes of the show to throw the grenade.
I don't think it's a grenade. It's just like I'm just not interested in seeing that. Like, it's fucking gross.
Brightwood brought up the grenade. Also, I will
that's
say,
the point. It's gross, but the point is that I think it's just important to say, like, the whole ironic thing is that this family came in with these old Southern values, and we're such good people, and we put on these.
I think the mom is the only one.
And I can tell you from living down here, that's a bunch of bullshit. All these people are full of craziness and darkness. And I think that does make a lot of people very uncomfortable to talk about, because when you look behind the surface, this family is just a mess. It is a mess. And nobody has any soul, any spirit, or any.
The daughter does. The daughter does.
Well, we got to see. The daughter has to make it through a night of reality first.
That's true.
Then she'll see if she's this thing or if she's just pandering against her family for the sake of, you know, privileged activism, which could be very much the point of her character. But no, I will say to Janelle's point, this will not be necessarily a rewatch episode for me. I'm good on the rewatch. You caught me out there the first time, Mike White. Didn't know that's where we were going with all this, but okay. Yeah, you want to talk about uncomfortable? You know, I'm one of 3 brothers, so this was not the most comfortable episode for me. And it might be one that me and my brothers weekly discuss the White Lotus. We're not discussing it this week, so
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're not going to have a TV club
Nah.
meeting after this?
We good, bro. We good, bro. We good.
We're gonna talk about
we are
our
so good.
brackets.
Yeah.
With
Anything-
Hope
anything
everybody's
else.
doing great in their brackets.
Yeah, that Final Four. Hey, yeah.
Co-gators.
But yeah, I mean, the White Lotus always does that. I'm still haunted by that season 2 scene of what happened when those two, when Homegirl and Homeboy walked to that island. I'm still tripping out about that. Like,
Yo, I'm number 1 in my bracket. Sorry, I just checked it. Let's go.
Also, I do want to address the comments. Zach, I agree with you. I do feel we need more Kofi Southern Outlaw accent in future shows.
which
also,
region
Brad,
do you want? I can do
also,
many
Brad,
regions.
you stop that. You stop that sacrilege right now.
Mhm.
He's no Tom Cruise, is what Brad
Oh,
said,
stop.
and he's trolling. He's trolling because he doesn't really feel that way. Because that would be nuts. Okay, that would be crazy.
Well, based on
He
this
really
episode,
thought-
he may be more Tom Cruise than you know.
That's true. I saw him jumping on the couch. I do want to bring up some slightly breaking news. Just to mention a quick mention here that the Legend of Zelda live action movie announced its release date. And
Oh,
so it
really?
will be happening
Awesome.
on March 26th, 2027. So we already have things to mark on our
Oh.
calendars for 2027.
All right.
That's
Okay.
big.
Yeah, that is big.
Maybe by then we'll
Right.
have the Switch too.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. It's already dead. All right, let's get out of here. We are going to get out of here. Do you have anything? I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't know if I was jumping anything. Oh, that was it.
No, that was it.
The Zelda movie.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. We've done the thing. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for joining us on the live chat as we do every Friday. We are Comic Book Nation. We are the only show that does it all for geek culture. You can listen to other shows, but you're going to have to listen to different feeds, different stuff. You come here every week, we got you. And you can follow our work as always on comicbook.com, where we currently have all kinds of breakdowns and theories about what is going on with Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, and our comic section is going off right now. So be sure to go to comicbook.com and for once, actually spend a lot of time reading about comic books.
Yes.
So that is it. Matt, Janelle, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank
We will
you.
see you guys out there. This is Comic Book Nation. Peace.
Bye.
Deuces.